Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our expat informational on the Republic of Turkey. As you all venture off on your assignments within the country of Turkey, it is important that you have an understanding of some of the customs and courtesies of the country, as well as some of its local history and business ventures. That way, you can represent the company and the United States in a positive light. Our team is composed of Claire Zeman, Brian Herrera, Alex Lee, Matthew Liu, and Laith Hayek. They will be briefing you on the country's history, cultural, political, social, financial climate, as well as some foreign investments and some U.S. companies doing business in Turkey and how they are faring. And now, Laith with the history.
Thank you, John. So the Turks were a nomadic people originating from Central Asia who arrived when the Seljuk Empire conquered Anatolia. The Ottomans ruled Anatolia for a little over 620 years. And the Turkish culture can be found today in almost every country the Ottomans ruled in their time, as they spanned all over North Africa, the Middle East, and almost all of Southeastern Europe. The Ottoman Empire came to an end after World War I at the hand of the Allied powers. After that, many subjects within the Ottoman Empire, such as the Arabs, the Kurds, the Greeks, and the Armenians, have sought to establish independence within Turkey. After that, the Allied powers, consisting of Britain, France, Italy, and Japan, planned on breaking up modern-day Turkey in the form of land concessions for the neighboring countries such as Armenia, Greece, and the Kurds. However, a military commander called Mustafa Kemal would spearhead their efforts by establishing the Turkish national movement, launching the Turkish War of Independence. He became the first president of Turkey with the title of Atatürk, which means the father of the Turks. In the early 21st century, Recep Tayyip Erdogan reversed many of Atatürk's reforms and transformed Turkey away from the secular state that it was under Atatürk. And moving on to Turkey's economic history, Turkey's economy was underdeveloped up until the establishment of the Republic. And during the final days of the Ottoman Empire after World War I, the Ottomans' nickname in Europe was the sick man of Europe. And once the War of Independence ended with the government's victory, Turkey witnessed an economic boom, where agricultural production increased by 87% and industrial production grew by 9% annually. By the early 1930s, the government introduced a new economic recovery program known as statism, which increased government intervention in every sector of the Turkish society. And today, Turkey is arguably the most stable country in the region. And now we'll move to customs and culture with Claire.
To begin, the primary language spoken in the country is Turkish, and the major religion practice is Islam. This means that the country is predominantly conservative in business, especially women. When conducting business in Turkey, referring to meeting attendees as Mr. and Mrs. followed by their first name is preferred. A proper way to greet partners is with a firm handshake and casual conversation before business. Some topics include sports, family, or food. When giving your business cards to a Turkish partner, present the card with both hands and make sure that the card has a Turkish translation on one side. Next, gift giving in Turkey is not common, so if you do give gifts, make sure they are not personal or expensive. A very common practice in Turkey is dining with business partners. It is even impolite to refuse an invitation to dine. When eating with a business partner, always be sure to ask if a Turk consumes alcohol before ordering any for yourself or for the table. This is due to their religious practices. Some other points to remember when dining are to never pay for your meal if someone invites you out. This is seen as rude to the person who invited you. Also, never bring up politics in any conversation, as dining and small talk should be focused on building the relationship. Finally, it is important to note that non-monetary incentives are preferred versus monetary or financial gain. Our next slide touches on Hofstede's 6 cultural dimensions. Individualism is rated at 37, which shows that the country's society is collective. A collective society means that conflict is avoided. The idea of we as a whole is important, as well as loyalty. Relationships are prioritized over task fulfillment. Establishing relationships is important, and feedback in the business environment is indirect. Power distance is rated at 66, which means that power is centralized. Further, the ideal boss is a father figure. Employees expect to be told what to do. Formal attitudes towards managers, and communication is informal. Masculinity is rated at 45, which means that this score is on the feminine side. This shows that the country avoids conflict, enjoys leisure, has sympathy, and levels with others. Uncertainty avoidance is at 85, which means that there is a need for laws and rules. Pragmatism is scored at 46, so no dominant cultural preference can be selected. And finally, indulgence or restraint is rated at 49, which means that no characteristic can be determined. And next is Brian summarizing the political and economical climate in Turkey.
Hello. Turkey runs on a republican parliamentary democracy. The president of Turkey is called Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Turkey's legal system is a civil law system based on codified law. Its gross domestic product is 761.4 billion, and it ranks at 20th nominal as of 2021. Turkey's trading partners are Germany, Russia, and China. Its imports consist of oil and mineral fuels, industrial machinery, and electrical machinery. Exports consist of motor vehicle parts, industrial machinery, and iron and steel. And now on to Matthew, who will talk about foreign investment.
Thank you, Brian. So why do firms invest in Turkey? Because Turkey scores relatively high in key metrics in doing business. Turkey was ranked 32nd for ease of doing business, meaning it was exceptionally easy to do business in Turkey. It was also ranked 59th and 37th for global enabling trade and global entrepreneurship, respectively. So who invests in Turkey? The biggest foreign investor in Turkey is the Netherlands, which represents 19.9% of all total foreign investment. They are followed closely after by the UK with 14.9% and Qatar with 9.7%, while the US only makes up 5.8% of total foreign investment in Turkey. So what are these firms investing in? The main two sectors of investment were finance and insurance and wholesale and retail. Those two sectors alone represent around 31% of foreign investment. Next, we will have Alex to talk about the social aspect of Turkey.
Thank you, Matthew. So looking at Turkey's current population, it is at over 85 million people. And if we look closer at the age distribution, it does have a growing population, with around 25% of the population being 14 and under, while having the bulk of it be between 15 and 64. If we look at the infant mortality rate, it's at 0.86%, which means that for every 1,000 live births, there are 8.6 deaths. Life expectancy at birth is 77 years, and looking at the happiness index rating, it's at 5.132, which is sort of around in the middle. Now, if we compare Turkey to all other countries that are listed in the happiness index, it is ranked 93rd out of 153 countries. This is on the lower end of the scale. Next, I'll be going over Turkey's finances. So looking at Turkey's currency, it is known as the Turkish lira. But if you look at their inflation rate, it's at around 15.18%, which is pretty high. Just give us some perspective. If we compare the Turkish lira to an American dollar, one Turkish lira is only at around 12 cents. The corporate tax rate is at 20%. And according to Global Edge, the country's risk rating is a C. This is most likely due to their low value of the Turkish lira and the regional and political tensions. Next, I'll be going over some US firms in Turkey. So currently there are more than 60 US businesses in Turkey, but some of the more popular ones are Microsoft, Coca-Cola, and Ford. But some of their main challenges are high inflation. If we look at 2015, the automotive industry there had issues with workers protesting the low wages they were having because of the rising inflation. Another issue that Turkey has is the sudden regulations and legislative changes. Next, John will be talking about recommendations.
Thank you, Alex. So we're going to recommend that the company continue to have a presence in Turkey, which means our presence will be vital to the company's success. Remember that as expats, we are ambassadors to Turkey representing the United States and our company, and we should act accordingly. We'd like to maintain our ties with Turkey as they are our main allies in the already unstable region. Even though our customs and courtesies may differ from those of Turkey, as long as we are educated on how they live and operate, we can act as such, and it gives us the best chance of being successful in the country. When navigating through the country, remember to stay vigilant as crime in the country can be an issue. Scammers and con artists are known to target foreign tourists because they are seen as easy targets. Try to take different routes to and from work, and remember to only go out in groups or with somebody else. If you do get into trouble, make sure that you contact the American consulate as soon as possible. So in conclusion, Turkey has a rich history and positive business dealings with the world. They also help the world with the fight against terrorism. So we talked about Turkey's politics, economy, culture, and business dealings, and concluded they are someone we would like to continue to conduct business with. That's all we have, so be safe out there and make us proud.